All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have Bob Pradella here. We'll be discussing the NFHS rules, three-man pregame situations and scenarios. Bob, thank you for joining us again tonight, taking the time to lead our presentation. We also have Luke Corsetti, Deb Wilson from USA Lacrosse, and then from FHSA, myself, Jeremy Hernandez, Alex Ozuna, and then Taylor Guys. We plan to be within the hour or so. We know your guys' time is valuable, so try to keep this fairly short and not too long so you can get back with your families. We hope you all had a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. So moving forward with the presentation, the Q&A box is open throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, please drop those in there and we will get those answered for you. I will now turn it over to Lou as he would like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you very much, Jeremy, and everyone on behalf of USA Lacrosse. We thank you for being on the call. My colleague Deb Wilson, as Jeremy mentioned, is on with us, and she's the head of our officials development program up in Sparks, Maryland. And then Bob Pradella, who's going to be doing the presentation, good friend who does a terrific job. Many of you probably know him, and certainly want to thank Taylor, Alex, and Jeremy for putting this together. It's been very informative, these webinars that we've been having, and we're going to continue to have them. But Jeremy is going to send out my contact information if you don't have it. But if there's anything that you need, please leverage me as much as you need to, and I will try to help you any way I can, along with Deb. So again, Jeremy, thank you, and Bob, we appreciate you taking the time to run us through this presentation. Thank you all.
Great, thanks, Lou. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. Like Jeremy said, I know it's a stretch, and we're all busy. But if you get something out of this, and you think it'd be helpful to any of your teammates, meaning the third team on the field, please let them know that this is available at the Arbiter Central Hub for fascia. Click on the boys sport lacrosse, and this should be up there pretty quickly. I'll get started. If there's questions, please type them in. I'll try to get them at the end. But the title is the NFHS rules three-man pregame. It could be a two-man. It's basically the same principle. So we'll go through this. Could everyone see my screen?
We can see it, Bob. If you can go up to the top for the presentation mode, it will make it'll make it a little bit bigger. It's on the left-hand side next to the circle that's to the right of it. It has a screen with like a sideways triangle.
Looking.
Yep.
Got it. We good?
Perfect. There you go.
Okay. And to get to the next screen,
the arrows. You can use one of the arrows.
Okay. So Guys, we're gonna go through these quickly, and then I've got some comments that I can make afterwards, after I read through these slides. But the keys to success for any game, whether it's a 2-man or a 3-man, is communication. Communicate with your partners, the table, staff, coaches, players. Practice preventive officiating. Your eyes are always on the players. Set the tone early, reassess often. Be consistent as a crew. Keep the game safe, fair, and fun. Don't ref the rules, ref the game. Well, that's a mouthful, and I'm sure everybody wants to know exactly what that means. Don't ref the rules, ref the game means ref the game that's in front of you. If you show up to ref a game and there are two highly competitive teams and the ball's in the air all the time and they're playing hard and they're playing tough, but they're playing fair, let them play. If it's a blowout, you're going to treat the game a little bit differently. If there's a 50-50 call, you're going to give the ball to the team that's losing 15-1, because if you give it back to the other team, the team that's defending, they're going to get aggressive. So ref the game that's in front of you, ref the rules that's in front of you. Another quick example of that would be an attackman chasing to the midfield line, and he pulls up short and the tip of his shoe touches the paint, doesn't swing his stick, there's no contact made. Technically that could be offsides. In that situation, there's no advantage gained. I would not call offside. So it's basically ref the game that's in front of you. The same player swings the stick, makes contact, absolutely call him for offsides, or if he wraps him in the back, call him for a slash. Communicate with our partners. Pre-game communication starts with the assignment. So before you even show up at a field or anything, you should hear from arbiter that you've got a game. Accept the game as soon as possible. As an assigner, I can tell you that makes all of our lives easier. If you have to decline the game, decline it, but do it right away. Your referee, or if you are a referee in a game, you should contact your crew. We recommend 3 days before the game. You're going to talk about where to park, what time to meet, and where to be. Basically, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Okay. Back to the parking lot. The discussions that we have that are most beneficial to a crew are what type of coaches are we going to see and what type of game are we going to see. Now, they're all different types of coaches, and I have another slide that kind of gets into the different kind of coaches. And if you're an experienced official, you'll laugh like I did, because I will describe a coach for you and you will plug a face in there. It's inevitable. So talk about the game you're going to see. Is it a competitive game? Is it a blowout? Are they two beginning teams? If they're two teams that are fairly new, the ball is going to be on the ground a lot. That means we're going to be looking for pushes and holds. If the ball stays on the ground in an extended scrum, you're going to look for a player to come crash the pile. It lets you know what to look for. If the teams are skilled and the ball's in the air all the time, then we're looking for big hits, things like that. We're watching the shooter, we're watching the passer. But different games are officiated different ways. Again, if they're newer teams and the ball's going to be on the ground or they can't pass or catch, be aware of that. Let's go to the next slide. Coaches categorized. This was taken from Referee Magazine. Referee Magazine is a publication of the National Association of Sports Officials. It's just another organization that we can join. They have some great benefits, but one of them is the magazine. Referee Magazine also shares these articles for the public use, and I know there are a few of them on the Fascia Arbiter Central Hub. So some of this was summarized to fit this slide, but I'll go through these very quickly. And again, if you've been officiating for a while, you're going to laugh because you'll see some coaches that you recognize here without being named. If you're a newer official, these are the things that your experienced officials can help you with. But very quickly, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, everything is wonderful until the whistle blows. The apologizer tells you they are sorry for poor behavior after the game. The praiser tells you how great you are. They're looking for a call. When it goes the other way, you may hear, and I have heard, you're better than that. The intimidator uses physical size, voice, histrionics, reputation, etc. to intimidate. Often starts with that's a push, that's a ward. The divider works to covertly drive a wedge between the officials. You'd never make a call like that. Heard that before. Tell your partner that's 2 blown calls. Heard that before. At some point, this may elicit a flag, but you have to have the temperature of the game in mind before you do that. The bookworm studies the rule book, but misinterprets the spirit and intent of the rules. The inciter tries to rile up spectators to ride the officials, fails to control assistant coaches, which basically grants tacit approval for their behavior. I have been officiating long enough to have seen every single one of these. The whiner, nitpicker who points out minor infractions that have no bearing in the game. I can't see the lines well enough. I'd like to have them repainted. That's a flat iron goal, not an obtuse angle goal. If it doesn't matter, if it doesn't affect the safety of the game, we're not going to worry about it. The polite coach always starts with sir or ma'am before being critical or confrontational. Have a few of those. Anti-officials can't be pleased. So competitive that you're an obstacle in their quest for victory. The official coach, this is my favorite, can be a nightmare, biased, insensitive, and out to prove expert knowledge of every phase of the game. The silent coach, brooding, scowling individual who doesn't like or trust an official, looks at the ground during pregame conference and says nothing. These are what we're going to see out there. By meeting in the parking lot and talking about the personalities involved, especially from the lead official, who will know the coach's demeanor and history, it's a great thing to talk about. It's a great thing to plan for before it happens with the coach. So just know a lot of different types of coaches, and they all have different styles. But again, you may chuckle the next time someone rides you, and you could tell them you have been categorized. We get on the field. The first thing we do is have a coaches meeting. You can certify both at the same time. Oftentimes we get one, we get the other. Oftentimes it's not feasible to grab both at the same time, but you can get it. Get it done early and let the teams warm up. The coaches don't want to talk to us. They want to warm the teams up. Certification. Certify the coach. Coach, you certify all your players are properly equipped by rule. That is the most important thing that we must do. We'll get the captains, the in-home crew card. It's something that I've seen some officials do. I think it's a good idea. Basically, it's saying your field judge, your umpire, your referee, here are names. Talk about the game time and any issues that they may have there at the facility. The horn's not working. The scorebook is we only have one person doing the scorebook, whatever it may be, if it's an issue. Referee's instructions to the head coach. We talk about decorum, sportsmanship, and then get the time that you want to grab the captains. So we start when we're supposed to start. There's new rules and interpretations. Be willing to answer questions. We should be aware of all those and anticipate that they may be asked. The coin toss. Referee stands at the center of the field. The umpire has the home team, captains, and walks out first. Then field judge follows with the visitors. Umpire and field judge repeat the call. If I'm throwing the coin and I say, Captain, what's your call? He says heads. I say heads. Everyone says heads. We flip the coin. Fogo conference. Offer to meet with the Fogos prior to the game and set expectations. Take a look at their sticks, examine their sticks then to make sure they have the proper tape on them and they're good to go. Explain how you're going to conduct the face-off and then answer questions that they may have as well. The next slide. We're on the field. We have people at the table. We need to talk to them. We need to know that they understand that we start and stop on a whistle. We need to know when a player is accumulating close to 5 minutes in personal fouls, because at that point they foul out of the game, they're not ejected. stacking the box. Perchance there's 4 penalties at the same time. First 3 are in the box. The 4 has to wait until there's a spot in the box. Release on face-offs. Let's see here. Check field goals, watch players, wait for warm-ups to end, stick checks on the far side. I'm sorry. Halftime, watch the team separate, clear the field, start the clock. I don't see this happen a lot, but if there's a horn at the table and it's 4 minutes to start the second half, blow the horn. That's the way that is supposed to work. Check with your table, make sure that they don't have any issues. Overtime, 1 timeout per overtime period. Coin toss for direction only. AP stays the same. First goal wins. Post game, keep your eyes on the players. Referee approves the score. Watch the teams cross. We arrive as a crew. We walk off as a crew. Mechanics. Officials need to know more than the rules. They also need to know where to go on the field and what their responsibilities are. The term mechanics refers to the techniques officials use to accomplish their jobs by knowing the proper positions to be in, depending on where the ball and action are on the field. While knowing the rules is an important aspect of officiating, knowing the proper mechanics and where to be on the field allows players, coaches, fans, and your partners to understand your calls. By having standard mechanics, it is possible for 3 officials who have never met before to step on the field and work together seamlessly. This is important for lacrosse because, unlike football where there are crews, lacrosse we're constantly working with other people. So if we all have the same mechanics, we all look like a crew, and we're in the right spot to make the call. And mechanics are very important. Now, USA Lacrosse has manuals for mechanics. This is just one slide, and this is an example of what you can go and get at usalacrosse.com. Face off, ball goes away from lead left. If you don't understand these things, look at the slides, ask someone experienced in your group or your USA Lacrosse certified trainer or observer. How do I read these charts if you're a newer official? But they're there, as well as there's a plethora of information, mechanics manuals. It's all at usalacrosse.org. It's part of your membership fee. If you've never seen it before, find it. If you can't find it, contact Lou or myself. We'll get it for you. Again, this is just an example of a publication from USA Lacrosse with mechanics. Communication is always key. And I'm going to talk about things that I don't see a lot, as much as I'd like to. Echo, what does that mean? It means that if there are 2 or 3 officials, you're all saying the same thing. If I throw a flag and I yell flag down, I expect to hear the umpire and the field judge yell flag down. When a player enters the attack box and the single side says he's in, we all say he's in. Same for resets. Ball changes possession, reset, reset, reset. Get it in, keep it in. One official says get it in, we all say get it in, keep it in. You get the idea. Altered possession, a tip, game time, all even. These are all things that we should echo so everyone knows what's going on. Mimic, point ready, stop sign, direction, get it in, keep it in, gain the attack box, possession. These are all hand signals that when one is pointing ready, we should all be pointing ready. When one official of the 3 or 2 has a stop sign, their hand straight up in the air, that means that he's attending to something and we cannot blow the whistle to restart. And again, it's communication. That happens to be a lot of visual, which we'll get into next. Eye contact, be aware of where your crew is and are they ready? So if I'm restarting the ball and I have the player next to me, the last thing that I do is look over at my other 2 officials. They should be doing one of 2 things. They should be pointing in the direction of play, or they should have a hand in the air because they're attending to something and it's not time to restart the ball. It could be a substitution. It could be something's on the field. It could be something. But the last thing that you should do before you, as the on official, is blow the whistle, is to look at your partners and making sure they're pointing or they're holding. If they're looking off into space, have a talk with them at the next timeout, because it's all about communication. Penalties relate to the crew. Move to the open area, stand still, clean and crisp, C note, color, number, offense, time, a brief explanation if warranted. Man down or the ball being taken in from the end line. Always let the goalkeeper know where the ball is before a restart. Goalie, the ball's top right. Goalie, the ball's bottom left. If it's a timeout on a shot and the ball's behind the net, goalie, the ball's end line. Make sure you do that for him. Ending counts. The single side keeps all of our counts. He does the 20 seconds. He does the 10 seconds. Guy hits midfield, counts to 10 seconds. He hits the box on his side of the field. He's in. That's something that if you look up above, it's something that we echo. He's in. It's key for over and back, because it can't be over and back if he never made the attack box. And what is really critical here, and I've seen this happen in games, the player is on a 10 count and he enters the alley away from the single side, and you can't tell whether he has entered the box or not, and your partner doesn't signal he's in. And you just wave your arm and wonder if he made it in because you think he made it in. We don't want to do that. We want to know when a player steps in the box that he's in, and we echo that and we mimic it. Alternate possession, signal face off and point direction, make sure everyone knows what's happening. When we award alternate possession, one team's on offense, one's on defense. The coaches and the players need to know who's on offense and defense, because they have to set up their next play. Time, always be aware of the game clock and verbalize. The more we talk to each other on the field and the coaches hear us talking, the better it is, the better we look. Be aware, understand the situation, know the game you're working and how it's changing. Restarts. Immediate whistle, no offensive player within 5 yards. Defensive player can be within 5 yards and must grant a direct path to the goal. After a 5-yard separation, the defender can play the man or ball. We can use restarts to control a game. If it's a frenetic, hectic game and the coach is yelling, restart, restart, and people running around, we restart. The coach doesn't restart it, but restart it and be aware of the 5-yard separation. Communicate, let your partner and players know where the ball is. Again, we're always pointing or holding on a restart. We're either ready to go or we're holding for some reason. But that's that eye communication. Before we do it, we look over and we see what our partners are doing. Restarts are quick, but don't rush. We don't have running restarts. If someone runs from out of bounds to restart, stop them. Oftentimes we refer to it as California stop, but they cannot have a running start. Where do we do restarts? The defense may restart in the box or crease. Again, you have to grant the 5 yards. Offensive restarts, always outside the box. We'll reposition only if an improper position gains advantage on a restart. What that kind of means is if there's a shot out of bounds and it's over near the corner of the field, we don't restart behind the net. That would disadvantage the goalie. We restart the ball in that case where it went out of bounds. The goalie has 5 seconds to return to the crease on a restart. You can use an arm count to let everybody know you know the rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blow the whistle. If the goalie has carried the ball all the way down the field and shot, and there's a quick restart, he's just hoofing it back there, give him his 5 seconds. At the end of 5 seconds, blow the whistle. Always count players and check the clock. No dead ball restarts with too few or too many players. If we run into a situation where there should be a man in the box and one team has a man in the box, but they also have 6 guys defending up front, and we restart by mistake, you could hear a coach yell, they're offsides. they want another flag. It's our job to make sure the field is correct before we blow it. In that situation, I would say, coach, it's our fault. I'm not going to penalize the other team because we made a mistake. Adjust the field, take a man on, put a man off, get the field right. But again, always count your players and check the clock on a restart. Offsides, count forwards. Offensive offside, it's a whistle, it's a turnover. Defensive offside, it's a flag down, slow whistle. Lead, single, trail, count, recount. If you think someone's offsides, count again. If you hear a coach yelling, he's offsides, and you see a player running back to midfield or running to the box, count the player first. If he exits the field and then you count 6 more players up, he was offsides. There were 7. Blow the whistle, they're offsides. Throw a flag, they're offsides, whatever the situation warrants. Count, signal with a twirl, yell reset on change of possession. Again, reset, something we echo, it's something we mimic. Single has all 10 and 20 counts. Face-off possession begins either a 10 or 20 count. What that means is if the face-off player wins the ball and he goes in the defensive end of the field, it's a 20 count. He steps over midfield, it now becomes a 10 count. 4 count on the goalie. The trail has a visual count, that 4 count, and it starts with the goalkeeper possession in the crease. It's just from experience, 4 seconds is 4 seconds until it's 5 seconds. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, before you say 5, if he's still in there, I'd throw the flag. I wouldn't throw the flag or blow the whistle, I'm sorry, at 4. Give them 99% of that almost 5th second. But let's not be too quick, especially if the goalie is about to exit the crease. If he's lost in there, obviously we're gonna have to turn the ball over because he didn't advance it out of the crease. So stick and equipment checks, all required equipment. That's basically handled at the beginning of the game when we ask the coaches, coach, do you certify all your players are properly equipped? This year, with the rule changes, that includes chest protector to specs, and also players are supposed to wear cups. These are things that we're not going to check. We address this when we address the coach. It's the coach's job to make sure his players are properly equipped. It's our job to make sure we ask the coach and certify him. Stick checks, dead balls. Don't double check. Look at it quickly. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Make sure no one's in the penalty box. We don't want to put someone 2 men down because of a stick check. So just believe me when I say you don't want to do it. Bench side, lead and trail, grab sticks in front of your bench. You're going to bring the sticks out to the midfield, and the referee will do the stick check. The mechanics for that: referee faces out, the umpire and the field judge face in. Check length, width, shooting strings within 4 inches, deep pocket, roll to the front, roll to the side, 90-degree angle. Confirm with the referee before you throw a flag. The referee is going to have to bring it to the table, and we want an oh crap call for that. We don't want it's a close call. We don't need to be that good. If it's a quarter of an inch off, it's a quarter of an inch off. I wouldn't call that. If it's bad, we're going to throw the flag. Tape, strings, cap, make sure the sticks are safe. There's no tape on the plastic except the goalkeeper. They get off, they can fix it. 2-inch max, manufactured cap. We should know all the specs for a stick. Face-offs. Single takes all the face-offs. Must get to the far sideline. Be consistent on your face-offs. Scorecard. We'll always mark our scorecard. Wait until we're in position. Goal is scored. Watch the players cross. Jog to midfield. Get settled. Write in your scorecard. We do not walk up the field while we're writing in a scorecard. We just don't do it because we're not looking at the players at that point. And if we jog up to midfield, we'll have plenty of time to write in our scorecard. Tape, Fogos need 6 inches of contrast and color up to the plastic. It's only a delay if there are none. Mechanics, whistle in the mouth, point, down, adjust, place ball, say set, back out, and whistle. That's modified now. We put the ball on the ground and we call them down to the ground. I should have changed that. Lead left, do not adjust crosses, check neutral zone, get in position, and freeze. The official conducting the face-off will be rolling backwards before he blows his whistle. So when you're moving, it's a little more difficult to detect a slight motion or a roll of the wrist. That's why the lead left official must be frozen. You are the guy that's looking for the flinch. If it happens, stand them up, award the ball. The wing, timer on. Hold until field ready for play. Focus on wing play, goal coverage. The timer on helps. It could help. And what I'm talking about is when the ball returns to the midfield after a goal, the face-off official should hold the ball and present it up in the air. And at that point, the wing official turns his timer on. From that time that the timer goes on, there's 20 seconds that all the other players have to be in their positions. If they're lollygagging and they're walking around and they're not in their position, blow the whistle, award the ball to the other team. I guarantee that it's only going to take 1 or 2 of those before everybody understands that they need to be in the position. And when we yell timer on, they're going to know what that means. You can shave a lot of time off a game by doing that. The wing official is now going to focus on the wing play. If the 2 players from the opposing teams are standing right next to each other, bumping each other, those are the players I watch, because chances are once the ball goes into play, one may try to hold the other, one may try to block the other. That's interference on a wing play. If they're completely apart from each other, you just basically have to make sure that they don't jump over the line. Pre-whistle foul, no whistle, stand the players up, point. Somebody flinches on a face-off, we don't have to blow the whistle. Stand up, point, wait. Trail has a restart, it's a free clear. Face-off violations, ball restarts at the spot and no release until whistle. That means that the players that are confined in the box have to stay in the box. If they walked over the line, they got to get back in before we blow the whistle. Functions of the lead. Run, lead must beat the ball downfield, never walk. Well, sometimes we can't beat the ball down the field if it's a Hail Mary pass and it's successful. There's no way that someone's going to beat the ball down the field. Do your best to get there. The key is never walk. Your position is lead, goal line extended to the end line, work in as closely as possible. That means we yo-yo into the crease when the play is on the other side of the crease, and we work back, keep the play in front of you, open your shoulders to the field. Coverage as lead. The goal is your primary coverage. You're watching the goal. The end line on a shot or contested play, you got to get back there. They can't score from behind the goal. So if the ball's behind the end line contested, leave GLE, get back, and now you're officiating the end line. Your single will come down, he'll take the goal in case there's a quick pass to the crease in the shot. Your boundaries is lead. Lead has the end line until sideline trail arrives, then the end line only. So there's a fast break, lead runs down, we've got the end line call, we've got the sideline call. Trail's coming up the field, he clears the box, everything's good. It's a mechanic that the trail may say or may not say, and he may say, I'm in. It's letting the lead know I'm settled in my position as trail, and I now have the sideline for a sideline call. Restarts on the end line. Let the trail take the sideline. Restarts on the end line. It's the lead's responsibility. Let the trail take the sideline restart after he gets in position. Goals, we blow the whistle. We run to the crease, then signal goal. Keep your eyes on the players after the score. We don't blow the whistle as we're running with our arms in the air. It doesn't look good, and it doesn't look good. Let's just put it this way. And again, it goes to mechanics. So if we all do the same thing, then we look like a team. Next slide. The single. Hustle, don't hurry, move to a spot, stop, and move to the next spot. Again, we never walk on a lacrosse field. Transition. Get to the midline as soon as possible. You've got the initial offsides. Count forwards. We don't count players backwards. We count forwards. And let the ball pass you at midfield. That's it could be a slow break or a medium break. You could come up with the ball at midfield. If it's fast break, you may not stop at midfield. You may get yourself down the other end of the field to officiate and help the lead. Singles position, we move from midfield cone to 5 yards above GLE. That allows us to slide down and cover the goal if lead has to go to the end line. Single coverage, hybrid trail lead. We've got offsides. We've got the late hit on the shooter. We cover the goal when needed. Single has all 20 and 10-second counts. On a face-off, the single will cover lead's goal on a fast break. If for some reason the face-off official gets tied up in the middle of the field and there's a fast break, we're going to help each other out. We're going to get down. We're going to cover the goal. The single crease coverage, cover the goal if the lead moves to the end line. We discussed that. The single, if it's a shot, if not on goal, watch the shooter or the passer. Okay, we don't ball watch as a trail, and we don't ball watch as a single. Trail. Again, hustle, don't hurry, move to a spot, stop, move to the next spot, never walk. Trail position, 5 yards above the box. Your primary concern is return to lead, meaning you're the trail, the goalie makes a save, you're going to turn and you're going to burn and you're going to get down the other end of the field because you're the new lead. Trail, offsides and substitutions. You've got the alley above the box. You're going to watch the shooter. You're watching for late hits. We're not ball watching. When you're observed by an observer, they're looking at the brim of your hat. If they see the brim of your hat move, they know that your head's moving and you're watching the ball. Think about that the next time you do it. Your counts, we've got a 4-second count on a goalie possession as a trail. Transition, your primary key is the goal behind you. Good time to talk to the bench. Now it's I'm in. That's what I said when we take over the sideline out of bounds. We say I'm in. We now have the sideline. Substitutions. The player on the field has a right of way. Watch for delayed subs. Trail sideline, cover sideline for lead when in position. And trail. This is probably the most important thing that we can do. The key crew saver. Watch the shooter, watch the shooter, watch the shooter. Someone's going to shoot the ball. Everyone's going to watch the ball, and someone's going to take the shooter out. We've got to get that call. Watch the shooter. On, off, never ball watch. Okay. And again, communication is really key. Special situations, the play on. We don't disadvantage the offended team. Keep it short. There's a loose ball push. Hand goes in the air. We say play on. If he doesn't pick it right up, blow the whistle. Award the ball. Keep it short. Crease coverage. Player coming towards you equals feet and goal. Back equals push. Must have a flag. That's in reference to your lead and your single side working down tight on a goal. The ball settled, someone goes to goal. If they're going away from you as lead, you're watching a back. If they're coming towards you as lead or vice versa as single, you're watching the feet in the goal. We've got to have a flag. If there's a bang bang play at the crease, and the player ends up there and the ball ends up in the net, we know he got pushed. You've got to throw the flag. If it was a push, we're going to say the goal is good. Ball went in the net before the player hits the ground in the crease, and the flag is waved. Dead ball, eyes on the inmates. Set the field for play. Find the ball, announce location. and penalty time in case of penalty. Again, we talk to each other, we communicate. Very important. Timeouts. Trail has 1 minute and 40-second timer. Wait until teams are in the huddle and watch mixed colors. Some timers have a function where it could be at 1 minute and 40 seconds. At 1 minute and 40 seconds, we signal the teams that they've got 20 seconds to take the field, take their positions. Get it in, keep it in, communicate, create opportunity. Don't penalize good defense, even if uneven, and never get it in, keep it in if not within 4 goals. Over and back. Unless shot or tipped by B, immediate whistle if contested. Treat as play on. If the ball goes back over midfield and it's not contested, and the team that is going to be on offense scoops it up and goes to the goal, we're not going to blow the whistle and say, okay, that team gets the ball. We never want to kill an opportunity to score. So a good mechanic for that is if you're the Trail and you know the ball's coming back over the line, hold your hand in the air as a play on. If he picks it up and goes, point forward and announce the team that's now on offense color and get into the play. Fighting. It happens occasionally. It's not a good thing, but it happens. The official closest controls the fight, the partner freezes the benches, and we get numbers. And we hope it doesn't happen. So I look at this slide and I know that everybody's happy because this presentation is just about over. This entire presentation has been compacted to one sheet, and that's the sheet that you're looking at. This is something that I have laminated, and this is something that I go over with our officials before our games. This is available as a Word document on my local officials association website, and I believe up top it says, if you want a copy, it's refjax, refjax.com. Click on documents. It's a Word document. You can modify this to your liking. You can take the logo off the top left and put your own logo on there. This was taken in part from past publications from USA Lacrosse, from National Federation of High Schools, but it is condensed to one page, and I'm a big one-page guy because when you get to 2 and 3 pages, we know everyone loses interest. Websites down below, usalacrosse.com, fascia.com. Again, fascia, you're going to look for your central hub. USA Lacrosse, you're going to look for any other educational material that you can find, and it's all there. And without further ado, this is the last page. And again, go to USA Lacrosse website, find what you're looking for, learn, do your course study, take your test. Go to Fascia Central Hub. There are articles there from Referee Magazine. There's forums that they're pertinent to the boys lacrosse game. There's presentations such as this one there. It's all there. Referee Magazine. If you are a member of NASO, or if you go online, you can Google Referee Magazine. A lot of their articles are shared. They're great articles. Remember to take advantage of these resources, guys. And if anybody has any questions, whoever's taking those, if you could feed those to us now, that'd be great.
Yeah, Bobby, we got several questions here. Jeremy, I'm not sure if you want to read them or if you want me to.
Yeah, I can go ahead and read them off.
Perfect, thank you.
We'll go with the last one that was sent in. What did you mean by mixed colors?
Okay, what I meant by mixed colors is the colors of the jersey of opposing teams. So the time that we look for mixed colors is after a goal is scored, or at the end of a period, or whenever 2 teams have to cross each other. So when colors are mixed, when the red team is mixed up with the white team, we always want to keep our eyes on that, and that's what that refers to.
Thank you.
So in case there's some kind of possible altercation, Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. It's an altercation is going to happen when 2 players of opposing teams are within a few feet of each other. And that's generally after a goal is scored. It's unfortunate, but there is trash talking after a goal sometimes. But the ball goes in the net. We watch the players in front of the crease, and we make sure that they separate and they go to where they need to go. Same thing at the end of quarters and things like that. So mixed colors is just another term for players of opposing teams wearing different colored jerseys.
Before we get started on the next one, I just want to go ahead and say, now that we are asking for questions, please feel free to put them in. That way we don't have to wait a little bit longer, and we can just read them off as he's answering. I'll go on and read them next one by one. So again, while he's answering, put questions in and we'll get to them. The next one, NFHS rules do not require 6 inches of tape for face-off, but NCAA does. Was that a change this year for 2022 compared to the slide that you had, or is there some confusion with that?
That's a good question. I'll look at that. No player can have tape on the top of his shaft connected to the plastic. So we have to be able to see the difference in the color of the glove and the color of the plastic at the top of the stick. So
perfect.
I see the questions, Jeremy, is the next one about the face-off. About the face? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good question. The face-off rules have changed in high school this year to eliminate what we call the motorcycle grip. And what that means is that the hand closest to the top of the stick has to be palm up. In the past, the player could have his hand palm down, and it's what they call a motorcycle grip. That is no longer allowed. And the other rule on the face-off that's different is the players cannot have any part of their body touching the ground. They can't have a knee on the ground anymore. They must be basically standing and crouching. With that being said, we want to get our players this year down and out quickly. We don't want to leave them in that position too long, but the player can no longer put a knee or an elbow on the ground before taking a face-off.
And then the next one, do officials use headset radios for on-field communication? Bob, does your association allow that? Since, I mean, you're the head or a part of association from a leadership standpoint. What is your guys' view on that?
Historically, I have never seen a high school crew use headset radios for a game, but I will say that they are great when used. They're starting to be used in the college game now, and all the feedback from the crews that have used them it was a tremendous tool. So if there are a lot of officials that do other sports, if you have someone from a football crew has a set of headgear and you guys want to try it, as long as everyone's willing and comfortable, be my guest. Again, I have used them on the field, and I find them beneficial.
Yeah, and like Bob said, that's absolutely correct. A lot of our football crews do use the radio sets. I was just in Tallahassee for our 1, 2, and 3A state championships, and all the crews for those championship games had a radio set where they were able to talk to each other and communicate with each other without huddling up as much. So they do use it in football. I believe it started slowly in soccer as well. Alex is on, so if it hasn't, he can correct me, but I believe soccer has kind of started moving that route. So yeah, again, if everyone's comfortable and it helps with the game, like Bob said, please feel free to give that a try. The next one, Bob, what is the new face-off protocol versus the old one? Down, set, blow the whistle.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put the ball at center X on the ground. We're going to call the players down together, and the players should set up on the ball. At that point, we're going to look over the top down at the sticks and verbally instruct them to slide the stick, straighten the stick. Once the sticks are in the position that we want them after verbal instructions, we're going to back out and we're going to blow the whistle. Single side official has that face off. He's going to be rolling backwards and his helper will be watching for any flinches or things like that. Some officials will get down and monkey with the sticks. It's not necessary, but some officials still do that. But again, the official word, basically, I would say, is to put the ball down, call the players down, look over the top of the sticks, make sure they're good, say set, and then roll backwards, and we always vary the count. That's how we're going to do it.
Lou, I see your hand up.
Yes, sir. I want to just make sure we don't have any other questions, but Bobby, I have a few questions that may be beneficial. When you went over the table requirements, when you're checking on the table, do you ever check the horn off of the scoreboard? And the reason I ask that is a good friend of mine who's a terrific official. Our clock had a 2-second delay, and we didn't know it, and the other team wound up tying the game. It go into overtime, but the clock actually went to 0, but there was a 2-second delay. So I just wanted to make mention to folks here to check the clock, let them blow the horn, just so you guys don't get caught in a situation like that, because everybody was upset. And if I probably should have been upset, but the gentleman was a good friend, and it was like, hey, what are you going to do? And we wound up losing in overtime, and everybody was mad at poor Doug, and it necessarily wasn't his issue.
That's a good question, Lou. We'll always ask at the table, is the scorebook here? Yes. Who's keeping the scorebook? Do you have a horn? It's the scoreboard. Is it operable? Yes. Could you hit the horn for us, please? That's a good time for them to test that horn. Doesn't always happen, but it probably should. And then the other thing, since you mentioned the table, and I think I might have not brought this up. If we ever get to a game and the scorekeeper or someone says to us, oh, the scorebook is up in the press box with the scorekeeper. Can't be. The scorebook has to be at the table. And I have moved people from the press box back down to the table, because the table people are very important. And again, they have to keep track for us of which player has coming up on 5 minutes of penalty time. It makes a big difference. But that's a good question. Do you have a horn? Yes, it's a scoreboard. Does it work? Yes. Does it have a delay? And could you test it for us? That's a great suggestion.
Okay. And Bobby, would you mind going back to the slide with the types of coaches you come in contact with?
Yeah.
And this is not necessarily a question, but more of a suggestion. Jeremy Redman, who's here in Georgia, while Bobby gets to that, and Gordon, my son, did a great webinar on what not to say to a coach.
Yes.
And it basically goes almost verbatim of what Bobby showed on that slide, what type of coaches you will encounter. And it's a great way, they call it like verbal judo, how to interact with coaches where you keep your professional demeanor while the person possibly loses their mind. So if anybody wants a copy of that, I just literally sent it this morning because I was talking to somebody about it Saturday, and they loved it. So if anybody wants a copy of that, just shoot me an email and I can get it to you. It's a dynamite webinar with these two pretty experienced officials.
Yeah, Lou, I'm having trouble.
Yeah, no sweat. No sweat.
Back to that. And I'm glad you did mention that, because I basically talked about the types of coaches, but the answers to the test are, how do we respond to those coaches? And you mentioned verbal judo, and it's not a long book. It was written by I believe a New York City police officer. It's a great book. And I read it, and it's helped me a lot too. We've got to remember, as officials, when we have negative stimulus from fans, parents, coaches, and things like that, first of all, it's only noise until we choose to listen to it. And the second thing that took me a long time to figure out was that the only power that someone has over you is your response. So if someone's goading you into a response and they get you to respond, that's what they wanted to do. They win. What we need to do is be professionals. We need to hear it, but not listen to it. And we need to focus on the game. And if we do that, we're going to probably stay out of trouble. Again, it took me a long time to figure that out. And in the beginning, in my early officiating career, I did not look the other way. I might have made a comment or two, and they were probably not very nice, but it's all part of the officiating journey and learning how to be a professional. And no one steps on the field in day one as a professional official in any sport. And the way we become professionals is talking to mentors, asking questions to the things that we don't know. Ask for a mentor. There are a lot of people in lacrosse that are willing to help younger officials, because at some point it's about giving back to the game. And in closing here, I'll say it's a fantastic sport in that there's always something for us to do when we come off the field. Get involved with USA Lacrosse as a certified trainer, an observer, and a signer, and a mentor, whatever it may be. Go back to coaching. Whatever it is, there's always going to be something for us to do. And again, it's a very close sport. Everybody seems to know each other, and it's changed lives, and it's changed my life for the better. So at this point, it's time to give back.
Next question.
Yep, yeah, we got another question.
If the scorekeeper wants to use a table clock instead of a score clock for penalties, is that okay?
Absolutely. It's whatever works. We will find games where nothing works, and you may have to keep the score on your wrist. Whatever has to work, basically, Jeremy. I've been at games where we've had a designated timer with his iPhone standing at midfield. So use the resources that are provided there. If something breaks in the middle of the game, common sense prevails. Use a stopwatch, use an iPhone, whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what we're going to do.
Awesome, Bob. Well, that was the last question I had. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We're getting close to that hour mark. Again, Bob, thank you for joining us tonight. Lou, Deb, thank you for working with us and the partnership we've been able to create with USA Lacrosse. So obviously we'll stay in contact regarding our next webinar. I'm assuming it will be after the holidays here coming up, beginning part of January or middle of January sometime. So keep your eyes out on the next webinar being announced. We hope all of you have a safe and wonderful holiday season, able to spend some time with family and relax a little bit. So we hope everyone stays safe, and we are excited for the upcoming 2022 season.
Awesome. Thanks a ton, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Lou.
See you.